All right. Hello, and welcome to the Comic Book Communicast, the official podcast of the Google Plus comic book community. This is issue number 40 for the week of July 2nd, 2014. I'm Justin Beeson. I'm joined by my co-host, Paul Christopher.
Good evening, everybody.
Sarah Evans is back. Yay.
Hey,
Yay.
back from Disney World, that magical place.
And Aaron Travis.
Hello.
Every episode, each of us talks about the comic that was at the top of our read pile for the week, and later we'll go over this week's news. So let's get right into it. Paul, what was your pick for this week?
My pick this week was East of West, number 13, from Jonathan Hickman and Nick Dragotta. And so I've been talking up this comic forever. There's a lot of, how do I put this? The comic is difficult to talk about because it's so epic in scope. Like, these are like really big ideas that take place over a broad area, and they're getting into like metaphysics, they're getting into religion, they're getting into politics, world building. It's just you should be reading this book. You really should. Like, this is a book for adults. This is a book for thinking adults. This issue picks up where the issue before last left off, where somebody that Death was interrogating was killed, and so Death and the cop have it out, but the main story is actually focusing on, like, so the person that Death was interrogating, and this is, it's, if you aren't reading this book already, you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. So, and I feel for you, but that's why you should be reading this book. So then, the guy that Death was interrogating was like the key between our realm and the land of the dead, and now that he's died in what they call the Bone Lands, which is like the halfway world now, the dead are like rising through him, and his son has to strike a bargain to stop it. And again, I understand this is not making any sense to you guys. Probably, doesn't sound terribly special, but I promise you, it's that epic. It'd be like trying to take like one chapter out of like the Song of Ice and Fire series and try and explain to you what that was if you've never even read a single book. So,
Which many fans of the show have not.
there you go. I read the Wikipedia, so I'm pretty up on it. So yeah, it's excellent writing, excellent art, excellent world building, just a fantastic, fantastic comic. This deserves to be at the top of everybody's read pile. It should be spoken of in the same breaths that you hear about like sex criminals and Saga. It should be right up there with Saga, and it is on my list. So that was East of West, number 13.
Paul, have you... well, I know the answer to this, but you should maybe check out like some of the main Marvel titles, like, because Hickman does New Avengers and Avengers, and I kind of dip in and out, but they're kind of like that same epic world, like epic stories that take, issues upon issues to build up upon. And for anybody else that reads those and isn't reading East of West, that's a mistake, because same type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
I might have to check it out.
You should check out New Avengers.
Yeah. But part of it too is like I realize that I'm getting further and further away from the superhero comics because they're just getting to be more and more the same stuff. But I'll probably check out like an issue or two and see what's up, because part of it too is like these are like completely unfamiliar characters.
Right.
They're pulling from like Native American mythology, and it's really hard to boil down and explain. It's just you have to pick it up and just start reading it for yourself, pick up the first trade, see what you think.
Cool. So, Sarah, what was your pick this week?
My pick this week was Hinterkind's #9 by Let Me Look at the Creative Team. Ian Eddington and Francesco Trifogli, writer and artist respectively, I'm pretty sure. Like 50% sure. This is a series that I've kind of been flirting with dropping for a while now, just because, I mean, I keep it on my pull box because it has a lot of potential, and I really liked it when it started. But it just kind of keeps consecutively disappointing me, and I don't know, I'm probably going to continue to not drop it for a little while because that's what's been happening, and I just keep thinking maybe next issue something will happen, maybe next issue a plot will begin. But for those who have not been pulling the series, which may steadily be a larger number, because they're not really selling it that well, or as well as they could, in my opinion. The premise is basically a post-apocalyptic urban fantasy where our hero, Prosper, a young teenage brunette girl with a bow and arrows like nobody else in teenage sci-fi, basically is on a quest to save her grandfather, her only living relative, and herself and her friend, and basically keep the small chunk of humanity that exists in this post-apocalyptic universe out of the reach of the fairy races who have kind of made a comeback in the wake of humanity's disease-inspired dying out event. And because a lot of especially the princess, who's very bloodthirsty and a very promising villain, but has not yet interacted with any of the main characters, which is one of my major issues, they would like nothing better than to wipe humans off the face of the map, because that was basically what happened to the fairies once upon a time, long ago, and they're like, hey, retribution. But yeah, like I just said, one of my major issues is that it's basically been small-time villain encounters for the entire 9 issues, and this series has been running since last fall. But we don't really have a lot of character development on most of the main characters, except possibly Asa Monday, Prosper's grandfather. Like, we know who he is. He's old professor, loves his granddaughter, very brave, very smart, etc. The rest of the characters, not so much. You get the idea that they act the way they do because they're the main characters and because they're teenagers and, oh, this is what someone should do in this situation. But they keep introducing more and more side character anti-heroes who is like, oh, here we have a group of orcs who are Amish farmers, and here we have a group of half-fairy changeling bounty hunters, and they keep throwing in new characters, and I get the feeling that they're just so in love with the world building that they haven't taken time yet to really commit to character development, and they just keep adding more characters, and this is a problem, especially since it's just one encounter after another, and introducing new facets of this world. They haven't really gotten around to anything solid happening yet, except piece by piece by piece, and 9 issues in, it's getting kind of old, especially when, like I said, there's some really promising villain material in here. The Princess of the Fairies, her mother is kind of wanting to stay neutral in the whole humans-fairies conflict. Like, she doesn't like humans, but she doesn't necessarily want their genocide. And the princess is just waiting to take over power from her so she can, like, I don't know, kill all the humans off in this massive genocidal Holocaust situation. Like, she's already rounding humans up for camps and ritual sacrifices, and I'm like, let her, you know, leave this area, like, interact with the main heroes so that we can get something going. But no, this issue is more or less introducing a new wave of B-list bad guys for the main characters to encounter, who are a pack of vampires so threatened by having picked off humans so quickly that they're running out of food, and now they're attacking different races and different settlements, and I'm just like, okay, well, this is probably going to end with the main characters escaping from them and then talking around a campfire, because that is what has happened so far. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend Hinterkind at this point because I'm not sure why I'm still pulling it, but I guess the promise that it has, because they've been focusing on world building, they're doing a really good job of world building, but that's all that they have. I guess I'm going to hang on a little while longer and see if anything else happens.
Save yourself.
I can't. I will go down with this. Get off the fridge.
Paul,
Get
weren't you?
off the teapots. Oh. She's ignoring me. I'm sorry.
Paul, weren't you pulling this for a little while?
I was. I agree. Like it has a lot of potential, but it wasn't going anywhere, so I was done. I forgot to buy it 1 month, and I took that as a sign, and I just left it alone ever since.
See, it's on my pull list, and I keep forgetting to take it off. So it's like we have the opposite problem here.
Yeah, I think I read the first issue and just didn't grab me, so I didn't keep pulling it.
No, it's a definite non-recommend from me too.
So that was
If it gets
Hinterkind.
good, I'll let y'all know.
All right.
She's gonna be our canary in the mine.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I love Canary. She's great.
All right. So, Aaron, Lord of Death.
Yeah.
What was your comment?
Oh God.
So they have this new the Google Draw thing on Hangouts now. Sorry, it's fun to play with. I nabbed the 100th anniversary special Fantastic Four, which is the first in a short story arc. Takes place in the year 2051, after a huge, basically an apocalyptic kind of scenario that was that has the Fantastic Four in the center of it. It started off how it started off kind of it really had me worried. The introduction page. I'll actually read the introduction page for you just because it's short, and maybe I won't read the introduction page, so because I'd have to pull it up. Basically, what it boils down to is the four existing Fantastic Four in this time, which are the kids of Ben Grimm, Sue Richards, and et cetera, et cetera. It's basically they have paired off. It talks about them pairing off and having relationship problems in the face of certain death, which really had me worried because if you remember my review of Duke last week, that was basically the problem with that comic was the fact that all they were doing was having soap opera relationship drama. So that I kind of hunkered down ready for that in the beginning of this, but it's actually really good. It starts out with a flashback of a tale of what happened. They don't tell you exactly what happened that caused the Earth to be destroyed. They just say that it's what the world considers how the world was destroyed, and it basically sets the Fantastic Four up as the most hated people in the world because they were the reason why the world was destroyed, and it's basically the story of them coming back from where they were, which kind of hasn't been explained, but it was. They were actually off in some other dimension, and it explains them coming back and basically setting up this, what I feel like is going to be a gigantic struggle, because at the end there's kind of the last frame is kind of awesome that I'm not going to give away, even though it's probably been spoiled. I'm not going to give it away, but it made me kind of happy. But it was actually really good. It was really heartfelt. It was about it was, as opposed to really crappy relationship drama, it was realistic drama about the family missing each other and doing whatever they had to get back together. And there was a pretty kick-ass fight with some intergalactic drones. So yeah, I mean, it's the beginning of a story, so there's not much I can tell you about it. It's going to be one to watch. It's only going to be what, Justin, like five?
Yeah,
After seven,
it's
okay.
5 one-shots. So you got Fantastic Four, Guardians, X-Men, Avengers, and something else that I can't think of off the top of my head. Actually,
Well, I know what I know. The next one is Guardians of the Galaxy because they
oh
say
yeah,
at
the
the end,
thingy.
continued with the anniversary special Guardians of the Galaxy #1.
Oh yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the other one was Spider-Man.
Okay, and it's pretty cool. I mean, because it's funny because they have callbacks to things that happen, but they're in comics that are hypothetically in the future. Like one's from episode 400 or Fantastic Four 400 and something from the year 2050, kind of thing, which is kind of cool. But it's pretty good. It's worth it. I like the art is really good. It's very similar to a lot of the more this is going to sound bad, but it's really not. The more teen and female centric kind of comics. It doesn't have the standard comic art. It's got art more along the lines of something like Miss Marvel or something like that. It's got a more youthful and also kind of a feminine feel to it than your average comic book, which is refreshing, and it's not like saccharine and schlocky. It's good. It's well done.
It's very unique. Well, so it's Joanna Estep who does all the art. Looks like,
Mhm.
and what makes it stand out, because we were talking about this before the show, is that the lines are not all like black. So you have a lot of like white lines, and then if there's an effect that colors something, like there's some green lines in there. So it
Yeah,
gives it kind of a. It's hard to explain.
There's a scene where all of the outlines for Ben Grimm are done in green because he's in like an energy field or some kind of crap like that. It's done really interestingly. It's still comic booky, but it's not very standard. It's really good. It's cool. And actually, Sarah, I think you probably end up liking this whole series too because it's very character driven, has very strong female characters.
Does it have Valeria Richards?
Who? Oh,
Valeria Richards?
Yep, it sure does.
Oh, good. I love that kid. This sounds really good. I'm probably going to start reading it, but I promise not to start pulling it.
She's not a kid in this, though. It's
fine.
2051. She's not a kid in this.
That's fine. I love legacy characters.
So yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it surprised the crap out of me. So
I promise not to start pulling it so it won't get canceled.
Well, it's only got 5, and they're already scheduled, so it won't get canceled.
Yeah, you haven't managed to get Hinterkind canceled, so apparently.
That's because it's not quality.
This won't get canceled, so you can go ahead and pull it. And
great.
you'd like it. I think you'd like it. You'd end up liking this one.
I think so. Thank you.
Yeah.
What you do is you have your wife pull it, and then you can read her copy. So technically, yeah.
This is where two pull boxes come in handy. I'm going to throw them off my trail.
Yep.
I take it back. Do not start reading Lazarus. Do not start reading East of West. Don't read anything on my pull list. Dude.
You know what? Just because Young Avengers and Fearless Defenders and X Factor all got canceled within a few months does not mean I jinx everything I touch. Just most of the good things.
Speaking of Young Avengers, it's not out this week, but I've talked about it the last couple weeks. Have you been following Original Sin or Original Sins at all?
I'm aware of it, but I'm not up on like every plot twist and everything.
So Original Sins is like kind of the rest of the Marvel universe, how it's affected by the event, and it's kind of like, so it's a bunch of mini stories, but the main story running through it is Young Avengers.
Really?
And it's written by Ryan North, who does Adventure Time and Dinosaur Comics and
No way. That's cool.
It's really good.
I'm not a huge Adventure Time fan, but is it good?
It's really good.
I know there's like a Neil Gaiman character in there who's suddenly their sister, and she's like wearing a belt for a skirt or something.
No, that's that's Original Sin 5.1 through 5.5 Thor and Loki.
If it needs a Dewey Decimal System, it's probably a little too complicated.
There's 5 million tie-ins to Original Sin. So there's Original Sin, then there's an Original Sin with Hulk and Iron Man tie-in, Then there's an Original Sin with Thor and Loki tie-in, which is the one you're talking about. And then there's Original Sins plural that is 3 like mini stories per comic, but the one story that's going to run through them is Young Avengers.
Oh, great. I'll start looking at that.
It's
You
really
guys
good.
are hooking me up tonight. Thank you.
All right. So after that sidetrack, my comic was Rocket Raccoon #1. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people were looking forward to this. So this is written and drawn by Scotty Young, and if somehow you're not familiar with him, he does all of the Marvel Baby variant covers. So basically, any new Marvel book, there's a baby variant, and it's drawn by Scotty Young. So he's a very like cartoony artist, and basically, as soon as they announced him on this book, everybody was like, "Oh, that's perfect." You know, cartoony guy is drawing a animal that goes around killing everybody. So yeah, it's the first issue, and it is really, really good. He kind of nails the sarcastic and a little bit insulting tone that Rocket uses. Obviously, the art is awesome and perfectly fitting for it. I don't think anybody else should ever draw Rocket Raccoon again after Scotty Young's done with him. So basically, this intro issue, you see him rescuing a princess, and then he takes that princess to a wrestling match to watch Groot, and this is on a date. And then he finds out that he's wanted, and so he runs from the cops and stuff. And then there's this whole scene where he's running from these cops on this planet, and then he calls Star-Lord for him to bail him out. But the other Guardians are off fighting this big old monster, and so they're just kind of having this casual conversation while both of them are killing things and fighting people. It's pretty great. Nails the banter, like nails everything about it. It is perfect. If you have any interest in the Guardians, obviously pick this up. But I mean, I would pick it up anyways because it's just kind of one. Scotty Young doesn't do a whole lot of ongoing comics. He does a lot of covers and stuff. But the only ongoing things he's done are he does those Wizard of Oz miniseries that are kind of few and far in between. So this is going to be awesome. Hopefully this lasts a while because yeah, it's really, really good.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Whose voice do you read it in?
I don't know. Because to be fair, I haven't watched the movie trailer yet, so I don't know what Bradley Cooper sounds like as Rocket. But yeah, I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. Why? Who do you hear as Rocket Raccoon?
I'd probably read him as MC Chris.
So yeah, and I'm sure this comic's going to sell a lot with all. I mean, at my comic shop, they have a big, section with all the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff because of the movie coming out. And apparently, it sold like, I don't know, like 1 million copies or something. Whatever, a high amount of comics, whatever the ceiling is, it sold a ton.
What sold a ton?
Rocket Raccoon. I know you cut out.
Yeah, I lost my Wi-Fi. My router went out. We were having a bit of a storm. I don't know if you heard the thunder behind Aaron and Sarah over there.
Fun. It's like 80 degrees over here.
Yeah,
it's 80 degrees over here too. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not good. All right, so that was my comic. Paul, what else did you pick up this week?
I picked up. Sorry, getting everything back together. First, I want to say, all right, so we're talking about East of West, and so let me give you the 5-minute spiel on what this book is about. All right, so it's not necessarily the future; it's an unknown time. It's a place roughly analogous to the Old West, the American Old West. And the 4 horsemen have returned to the world to fulfill their prophecy. They are in the form of 3 children and 1 adult. Death. Death has taken off. He's not even trying to hang out with the other three horsemen. They're trying to get him back. Death, the last time he was on Earth, fell in love with a mortal woman, had a child by her. He finds out that the sun is alive, so he is out to find the sun. He's already...
Sun.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought you were talking about Pretty Deadly.
No, they're very similar. If you like Pretty Deadly, you will like East of West. And Death has two companions who are Native Americans, as well as you could say Native American, since not necessarily in America. But they're also like kind of like sorcerer types, so shamans, I guess. Meanwhile, the rest of the other three horsemen are basically trying to foment a war and bring about the end of the world. So, but there's a lot more politics and big ideas going on, but that's it in a nutshell. So, this week I got Caliban #4. That's that space horror one. It kind of went off on. I like the first few issues because it was like very big ideas and very much like leaving a lot of the horror like to your own imagination, like to implications and insinuations rather than just clear cut like bad guy stuff. A lot like Sunshine, the movie Sunshine did, but also like the movie Sunshine, now suddenly we have a clear cut big bad villain running around hacking people up, and so it's kind of my view of it is kind of dipped a little, but overall it's still a good book. Still interested in it. Still recommend it. Lazarus #9. You know I love this book. You know I love this book, and you should love it too. This is like one of the best books out there. Suicide Risk #15. This is an amazing book that you should totally be getting. Like it started out just as like a superhero, just like another superhero book, basically, like a little bit of maybe a superhero deconstruction. You know, it was unpowered cops fighting these superpowered villains, and these people were giving people power using this wand that they had found. It was like kind of like a drug dealer type thing. So you think that that's just basically what this book is going to be about, and then they completely pull the rug out from under you, and you realize you thought it was just like this, but it's really like this. You know, there's just so much more going on, and now that we've had the curtain opened for us, like the book has taken on a completely different dimension. It's really, really good. Picked up Batman Eternal #13. The art on this one was done by where is he? Michael Janin and Guillermo Ortego, and it is so much better than the art we've been subjected to on this book for the last few issues. So I was very, very happy to see some good art back. Batman Superman issue #12. This issue circles us all the way back to issue #1 and the first arc. So. Which is good because I really enjoyed that arc, so I'm glad that we're getting back to that, and I'm interested to see where they go with that. So, and that was my pull box for this week.
Cool. Sarah, what else did you pull this week? And also, if there's anything from the past couple weeks that you think's worth mentioning since you have been gone a little bit.
Well, thank you for unmuting my microphone. I'm going to point that out about it, as I always do. Yeah. Aside from Hinterkind, there wasn't really anything this week, although I deeply regret not pulling Cable versus X-Force #1 now that I know that it exists, because apparently it involves a flashback to 90s X-Force and 90s Deadpool, and I need it badly. So I'm going to be running by the comic shop to see if I can pick that up, because the cover has, like, all the X-Force people in their 90s costumes, and I've got to get on that. So there was that. My pull box was, yeah, kind of full. I've got Sex Criminals #6 to read. Red Sonja number 10 I had to dive into because I've really been enjoying Red Sonja, and it was really good as well. This arc kind of is a continuing thing that's going on with her rounding up these incredibly talented people for this dying emperor's goodbye party, and it's just very entertaining. X-Men, Ghost, I am definitely not just looking through this pile right now, and a new Ms. Marvel. So I'm probably going to be reading all of those on the plane to Kentucky tomorrow.
Cool. Well, cool about the comics, not about the plane to Kentucky.
Yeah, pity me.
Aaron, what did you pick up this week? Or anything else?
Yeah, it was kind of late here, too. I just nabbed 2 comics. I nabbed Weird Love number 2, which I keep forgetting about this freaking comic book because I wanna talk about it one of these days. Hopefully, next time it comes around, I will remember it and talk about it. It's an old style, like 50s, 60s kind of pulp comic. It's like the first episode, the first issue, the cover story was. I fell in love with a lunatic, and this one is what is it? It was I was an escort girl, just like really really crazy, like totally pulpy stuff, right up my alley. It's great. They just look awesome too, and I always end up nabbing a couple of just impulse purchases from the digital first and submits from Comixology, which is one of the reasons why I love Comixology. And I nabbed Panther Scouts number 2, which is so cute. It's about a classroom of freaking kitty cats. And in this one, because one of them comes to class with a cast on his leg because he chased a bird out into the street and got hit by a car, they do a nice little presentation on street safety when chasing birds. So cute.
Oh!
Yes. Look it up. The cover is like, we'll sell you on it, and the entire thing is just like the cover.
I'm going to buy that.
It's
Twiglet a fan?
awesome. Yeah, she is. See?
Twiglet gives it 4 paws up.
Yes, she does.
She would if she were conscious.
Yeah.
Yes. So cute. Amazing.
All right. So it's a pretty big week for me. Action Comics number 33, which is still part of the Superman Doomed crossover. It's good. They really could have reduced the amount of issues in there. I finally looked up the checklist, and it's going all the way through August. So there's like, I think 7 or 8 more books to go. Ooh. But it's good. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. Batman Eternal, Dr. Spectre number 2, which is a new ongoing from Dynamite, and Mark Waid's writing it. It's pretty interesting. I'm not completely sold on it, but I'll give it until like the end of the first story arc. Basically, it's about a guy who deals with magic and sorcery and all that type stuff. But the twist is that he's like he's on like a reality show, so the whole world knows that magic is a thing, and this guy's like the star reality show and the poster boy for fighting magic. And so it's just kind of following him and what he's going through. But yeah, it's pretty good. Iron Fist number 4, can't wait to read this. This is probably my favorite Marvel comic right now. Written and drawn by Carrie Andrews. It's really like just kind of like an old kung fu movie. It's really good. Miles Morales number 3, Miracle Man, Moon Knight, which is coming to an end next issue, or not coming to an end, but Warren Ellis is off and Brian Wood is on, so I will be dropping it. And then I picked up one from Comixology Submit called Morningstar number 1, and basically it's a story about heaven is a like old western town, and Lucifer is still an angel. This is before the fall, so it's Lucifer and a bunch of other archangels going around and killing demons, but the angels are cowboys. So it was all right. It's kind of interesting. It's only a buck or two, so I'll probably pick up the next couple and see how it goes. Future's End, Original Sin. I hear there's another crazy twist in this one. It's kind of been par for the course with this event. Southern Bastards, Star Mage, and Thor: God of Thunder. So, yeah, a lot of comics right there that I'm looking forward to reading, but it's probably going to take me a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are my comics. Let's move into news. That's actually quite a bit this week. So we have some new Batman books, or Batman family books. One is it was called Arkham Manor, and I'm guessing these are out of continuity. I'm not positive, but this one definitely is, because basically something happens and they turn Wayne Manor into a new Arkham, and the art looks kind of like trippy and horror-ish. I'm not real familiar with the creators on that one. Did you guys read up on this at all?
I was reading about it. I don't remember who the creators were, but I just remember that I thought it was a really bad idea.
Well, the second one, it's Gotham Academy, which so this is for it's a young adult book. I was first super excited because I saw Becky Cloonan was on it, but then not so excited because she's not actually drawing it, she's writing it, which she's a good writer, but her art is amazing. If people aren't familiar, she's done Conan, she did True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, and she drew Batman number 12, I think. The first female artist that ever drew a main Batman title. That one actually sounds interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if she's the one that I met at Baltimore Comic Con.
Maybe. But yeah, Aaron, Sarah, did you guys read up on this at all or take a look at it?
I mean, I looked at it, but I mean, Gotham Academy thing just looks kind of dumb as far as I'm concerned, and I don't know. They just look like superfluous Batman titles. I don't know. They both do. They both just look like unnecessary superfluous titles.
I feel like the Gotham Academy thing, they could have used another property with it, because I mean it's all new characters. It seems like they could have done like the whole DC universe or done some of this city, because I think there's an amount of Batman fatigue going on.
I think it's a cheesy attempt to tie into the Gotham TV show.
Yeah, that also seems really weird to me because it's conflicting, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Arkham Manor is done by Jerry Duggan, who did Deadpool and Nova, and Sean Crystal, who did Deadpool, Wolverine, and the X-Men.
Yeah, see, that's really weird because Jerry Dugan is basically, he's fairly new comic writer, but he's mainly been doing, comedy and lighthearted stuff. And from what I could tell, Arkham Manor is going to be a horror book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That could be a saving grace.
We'll see.
But I mean, people are fans of Deadpool and Nova, so he's got his fans.
Yeah.
So the next bit of news is we're getting a miniseries from Boom Comics that is a tie-in to the Sleepy Hollow TV show. And this is, speaking of Batman, this is by Margaret Bennett, who's one of Scott Snyder's underlings that's done some Batman-related one-shots and stuff. And she's been I liked the annual she did, and I really like the TV show, so I'll probably pick this up. Do any of you guys watch the TV show?
Yeah, I will watch the TV show. I really like the TV show. I don't know about picking up the comic. I generally don't mess with property comics.
They've gotten a lot better lately. The ones that I've read have been, none of them have been bad. At the most, they've been okay. Or at the worst, they've been okay.
But the problem is they don't look like the characters.
Yeah. Right.
They do art style, so they don't look like the people I'm used to on TV, and that for some reason that just bothers me. I understand that that doesn't for everybody. So it's just for me. It's one of those.
Well, I'll pick it up and I'll let you know how it is. I think it's only 4 issues, so it's nice and short.
Yeah.
I keep being told I need to watch the TV show because apparently it's really good. So I I'm probably going to be picking up this comic, and then I'll see how that goes.
It completely, I mean, it was not what I kind of went. I didn't know anything about it when I started watching it. It was not what I expected at all. I thought it was going to be, like a traditional Sleepy Hollow story, but no, it's Sleepy Hollow in modern day and kind of batshit crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It's just nuts. And that's what makes it work.
Yeah. All right, moving on. More TV related news. This one's kind of a big one because it really affects the character. They announced, with the leak, and they announced it, I think, found out that Constantine on the show will not be smoking.
Yeah, but we all pretty much knew that.
Not surprised with that, yeah.
I'm a little disappointed.
Well, because apparently you can't smoke on network TV.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same kind of brainless manipulation of the masses that the freaking, I don't know, national health, whatever, etc., thinks they can get away with. Because it used to be cigarette companies dominating TV, trying to market cigarettes to people. And now it's the other team saying, oh, well, we can't trust people to make their own decisions about health. We need to tell them what to do. So it's like, can't we just have a character who realistically would do this instead of another thing? Or, like, can't you at least have him with, like, a vapor cigarette or something? And
it's weird. It's like they would probably...
It's infantilizing the audience.
They would probably let him smoke pot or shoot heroin.
Yeah. I don't know if I've had...
That would explain a lot about the show. That would explain a lot.
But the funny thing is that this is also another issue that they have to figure out another way is, I mean, for him, it has some pretty serious consequences, his smoking habit,
Right. Well, maybe what they're going to do is pick up after he quit smoking, and, like, they can call back to...
Yeah, well, like from the...
And all that.
I forgot, I don't remember who the creators behind it were, but they talked to the creators, and it kind of sounded like they were going to try and get creative with something tying into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of that's a big part of the character to take out.
Yeah.
So the final bit of news, and this is kind of a big one, and it ties into some other stuff, is we got the new Wonder Woman creative team official announcement. So we've known that David Finch is going to be drawing it for a while now. But now we know that his wife, of course I didn't write that down, but I think it's Meredith Finch, is going to be writing it. She's done like 2 little short stories in Zenoscope comics, and that's it. So obviously there's been a lot of... So just off the bat, there's a lot of... like, oh, what's going on? And then on the interview when they announce it, you have David Finch saying that, here we go. I'll just read the direct quote. We want her to be a strong, I don't want to say feminist, but a strong character, beautiful but strong. So, of course, people are up in arms in that because if any character is going to be a feminist, 1, it's Wonder Woman, and 2, he's obviously on the side that thinks feminist is a dirty word, which is just ridiculous. Sarah, go.
I want to know why. Just in time. I want to know why it's not the writer making these kind of comments about the direction in which she is taking the book. And it kind of says to me that the artist who has consistently made a name for himself drawing women with baby faces and exaggerated sexual poses is going to have a lot of behind-the-scenes say on this character. And not to mention, I mean, I am all for, like 100% for more female creators working in comics, especially superhero comics. I routinely buy multiple issues of Red Sonja every time it comes out to support the initiative that they have where it's female artists, like a variety of them, drawing all of these variant covers. Like, yes, please hire more women, especially you, DC. But usually, traditionally, a writer needs to pay their dues before they get put on a book like this. I mean, Jodi Picoult was writing Wonder Woman, and she had major best-selling books published, so that was a big deal. Gail Simone had to make a name for herself in the industry for years before they were like, hey, here's the debatably strongest female character in the DCU. Let's give her to the most prominent female writer we have right now. And, I mean, it's kind of a big deal. And now they're just kind of tossing it to a writer with almost no experience. It seems like they really don't care, and they're kind of just looking for a creative team at this point who, one, will work with them, and two, will fall in line. And it's really disheartening. What are you doing to that poor cat?
She's snoring. That's her
Oh my
snoring.
God. That's really cute.
I was like, what is that sound?
I was like,
my
please don't let the
goodness,
cat be
no.
farting, please. But, okay.
No, she has allergies, so she's snoring.
Oh my God. That's funny.
That same interview they did talk to Meredith. I think I'll probably be wrong about this, Meredith Finch, but she didn't really talk about that. She just said, she wanted to kind of evoke the Linda Carter Wonder Woman, and that was her Wonder Woman, so that's who she's going to try and write it as. But yeah, it's very odd that she's get this. I mean, Wonder Woman isn't one of their top-selling books, but she's a prominent character and it sells well.
There's a lot of tradition behind who gets to write this book.
And you have all these other new. What was that?
The battery on my computer is dying, so I might pop off and then join on my iPad. So.
Okay.
All right.
So you have all these other creators in DC. They get when they did backups, they'll get like a backup in a book, or they'll get one shots. Like the creator who we talked about doing Sleepy Hollow, Margaret Bennett. She's been doing things on and off at DC. She's had a couple one-shots, but she doesn't get an ongoing. So, yeah, it's
frustrating.
And it just, everything about this screams we're putting Wonder Woman back in line with the New 52 and the Grimdark and everything in there, which is such a bummer because, Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chiang were kind of carving out just this epic, mythological, unique story, and now we're just going to get another superhero book.
And you can, like you just said, you can guarantee that it's going to have the Superman romance in there, which was something that Chiang and Azzarello definitely did not have. Like, they had minimal amounts of it in the previous run.
I don't think he even appears in there.
Yeah, Constantine shows up more than Superman. Yeah, he doesn't show up. Batwoman shows up. And it was fine. It was great. That was something that they were pointedly doing. But now the book is basically being used as a marketing tool for a movie led by the other two main superheroes in the DCU who are male and who keep getting pushed for marketing. And it's really disrespectful. Not to mention, so there was a reply quote, David Finch, in response to the drama that's going on. He issued another tweet saying, I wasn't saying Wonder Woman is not for being equal and therefore a feminist. I just want her to be a human being, fallible and real. And so everyone is now up in arms saying, oh, so you're saying feminists aren't human beings. You can't be a three-dimensional character and be a feminist. And it's like, okay, Mr. Finch, just stop now. I know what you're trying to do, but you're making it so much worse.
Yeah, he's tripping over his words there.
Put Meredith on.
And it comes down to, once again, it comes down to it's just the other side of this is just beating it down to where people are afraid to use the word feminist because they think it's some, radical viewpoint or something. It's like, no, guys, it's okay.
I can imagine DC's base getting really pissed off about the use of the word. Honestly, considering how they are, I can see them getting really pissed.
Like, how do you mean? If they were like saying we're going to write her as a feminist, or based on what they're saying now?
No, because it's quite the opposite. Like, oh my God, we don't want her to be a feminist. Oh my God, that's just horrible. We can't have that.
It's Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
whether people choose to see it or not, this is the root of who this character is.
Yeah, but we're talking the base that DC thinks they have. So.
things. Which is funny because didn't they say in the announcement for this creative team that they wanted a woman on a woman-led book so they could draw in more women? Like, they couldn't say it enough times in that sentence. But
yeah, that'd be like the
it
Chive.
seems like, okay, we're marketing to women, but we're still not really going to do it right.
That'd be like the Chive getting the Chive website getting more women to curate their Mind the Gap pictorial page. It's whatever. I mean, you expect that you consider the source on this one. It sucks that but it's still I kind of expect that considering the source.
Yeah, well, this will be on a not pulling it at all until it comes out and somebody says, "Oh, this is not what we expected." But I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know, man. Considering his art of Wonder Woman so far, man, I'll be pulling it.
Oh, Aaron, don't be that guy. At least don't admit it on the internet. Don't admit it on the Communicast. You're making the rest of us look bad.
I was talking about the comic book.
Don't even admit to playing the comic book on the air. We can't be.
Paul, any thoughts on the Wonder Woman creative team?
I don't know them, but from everything I've heard from you guys, it's not something I'm going to go anywhere near.
Well, David Finch drew Forever Evil. That was his last thing, I believe.
Oh, yeah. That was so-so.
I could be
completely
completely
deserves
wrong.
better.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you notice anything about the females in the stories?
I really
Now
just
that you're
noticed
a little
that
more aware of the posing?
I just noticed that the stories were taking way too long. I don't
Right.
like to talk about Forever Evil.
You fell asleep somewhere in between, and when you woke up, it was 2014.
Yeah.
Trigger
So
warning: this is about Forever Evil.
So speaking of Forever Evil, so you had Nightwing number 30 or whatever that was the intro to Grayson, and it really sucked. But then I think it was last week or the week before, they put in a preview for Grayson number 1.
Yep.
Did you read it?
My God.
Yes.
Actually, it was really. I liked it a lot.
Really?
I did.
Yeah.
It was reminding me of the opening to the last James Bond movie, and not in a good way.
Well, I liked it, so I was not going to pull it, but I'm gonna pick up the first issue.
Always see what you think.
Yeah, I'll more than likely be covering it on here, so we'll get to discuss it.
Now,
I know
before
that
we
it was
go-
a disguise
That's
that he looks just like Savant from Birds of Prey in that preview, and I'm like, what? Because Savant is my favorite, and it's not nice to lead people on like that. So, just throwing that out there.
Before we go, a little bit of old news, but I want to get Sarah's perspective on, is the announcement of the Rat Queen's cartoon series.
Oh.
Yes!
Yeah, because Sarah wasn't around when we talked about that. Yeah.
So excited. 10 out of 10. We'll definitely watch again in the future once I've already watched it.
Yeah, Rat Queens is definitely. I mean, it's probably my favorite comic. Definitely my new favorite comic. I don't know if it's my favorite of the year yet, but yeah. It's,
Your favorite new comic?
Yeah, definitely. Like, of comics that have come out in the last 6 months or whatever, it's my favorite one. It's so good. And it's definitely in my top 5 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, are you
now that I've
reading
got
it?
No, I'm not. I need to though. There's like a huge
It's-
stack of comics that I need to read.
It's hilarious. It's
really
dirty.
good.
It's got some sweet action in it. It's the best.
Characters are great.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing is that we are so spoiled for good
Good
comics these days. I mean, it's hard to keep up with all the good comics.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Like,
my poll list is.
myself with all these good comics.
Yeah. I mean, like, it takes the 4 of us to cover the gamut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I think that about does it for this week, unless you guys have anything else you want to mention.
Nope. Sorry about all the technical difficulties.
Oh, I just found out about a really cool Kickstarter that's 17 days away. They're doing a group of people are doing a book called "Nothing Can Stop Me Now." It's stories and art inspired by Nine Inch
Nine Inch
Nails.
Nails.
Look up that Kickstarter. It looks freaking awesome. It's got a lot of indie artists and writers in it. That you might recognize if you are into the indie comics or or something like that. But it's awesome.
That sounds awesome.
It looks great. Yeah.
I'm pulling it up, and I'll probably be backing as soon as we end this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. So thanks for that, Aaron.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can find. Oh, and Sarah, if you didn't know, our audio podcast is back.